Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for iOS today is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
Apps for people who love literature.
And we'll drive some tiny little furry creatures off a cliff.
And would you like to pry open someone's mind and hold their thoughts in your hand?
That sounds messy. It's time for iOS Today. iOS Today is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage brings the mortgage process into the 21st century with a fast, easy, and completely online process. Check out Rocket Mortgage today at quickenloans.com/iOS Today. iOS Today. I'm back. Thank you to Jason Snell, who filled in.
Andy Anatko.
Who
Georgia Dow.
Wow.
And Mike Hurley. Jason Snell was busy filling in for MacBreak Weekly.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. So that's a great team, though.
It
Mike
was,
Hurley
yeah.
From Replay FM and Georgia Dow from iMore and Andy Anatko, of course, from MacBreak Weekly. That's a great panel.
Yes, it was fun. Each of them have their different strengths, and they really showed us how they use their iPads and their iPhones and their pencils. They were all big pencil users.
It's kind of nice to get other people on to show how they use it, because I think it is a very personal computer, and so everybody has a different use. Same thing with the iPhone. I've always said smartphones are the most personal of personal computers.
Georgia also is an expert on stickers, and of course the iOS 10 messaging has so many stickers. You should rewatch that episode. I'm sure you've already watched it, but did you know you can pinch and zoom stickers and make them bigger? And it's amazing.
We were talking before the show about discoverability and how, as Apple has gotten more and more complicated with iOS, more and more of its features are hidden. One of our staffers, no names, didn't even know about 3D Touch. She'd had an iPhone 6S and didn't know that you could press hard and things would pop up. And I think that makes sense. Unless you accidentally pressed hard, or you read George's posts and Serenity's posts and Renee's posts at iMore and learn all that stuff. You actually now have to learn it. Which is too bad in a way, because it's not completely intuitive. So Messages is a really good example. I mean, it took me a long time. I actually had to have Renee Ritchie show me how to do those effects, the strobe effects and the fireworks. I said, where is that?
Yeah.
It's not obvious, is it?
It's not obvious, but it is. I mean, they knew that, because they knew as soon as someone sent you, lasers, you would say, how do you do that? And it's not that hard. It's just a button, hold.
But it is, and so rewatch, because I'm sure you explain all that stuff. But it is kind of the latest thing. Snapchat does that too, and I think that the idea is that it'll get better viral word of mouth if it isn't all obvious, but you have a friend who can show you or send, as you said, send you a message, and then they feel good because they know something you don't know, and you get to learn. And so I think that probably is a good idea in some ways, I guess. I don't know.
So we're going to talk about reading apps, but first let's talk about some of the things that you have gotten. I've already gotten to talk about my friend Matt here.
Well, I noticed you're a little bit matte, and I'm a little bit jet black. I really love the jet black. This is the iPhone. We both have the iPhone 7, and I see both have the pluses. And these are the two new colors that they came out with. I love the jet black. Renee Ritchie doesn't put a case on it. I do. So that's accessory number one. I presume you have a case.
I have the leather case from Apple.
Oh, that's pretty.
It is. It's well, you can't really tell, but it's a little bit scratched, weathered, as we say.
Well, better that be weathered than the phone be weathered, right?
Yeah. So because I really wanted a blue iPhone, I believed in the rumors that we were going to get a blue one. So I got.
So you got the blue leather.
I got the case. Yeah.
Well, on the other hand, because I have the shiny piano black iPhone, I don't want a case to hide. I do feel like I need to carry a case, not just for microabrasions, but anytime you have a phone, if you drop it on a corner, you're going to get an ugly ding in there, and it bothers me. So I got a clear case. Now, there are a lot of these. These are cheap. This is, I think, $9 or $7, $8, $9. They're very inexpensive. And I've ended up trying a lot of different manufacturers for the clear case, and this is the one I recommend. It's Ringke, Ringke, $8.99, or maybe it's $9.99 now. They went up a little bit on Amazon. And of all of the clear cases, and I've tried a few, we got one from Matone, from Lisa, and it was adhering to the back and kind of making weird puddles. So this one is, of all of them, preserves the kind of the shininess of the back of the case. You will want to, both clean the case thoroughly and clean the back of your phone before you put it in the case. I actually use dish soap and water and then dry it with a lint. This is another accessory, very important accessory, a lint-free cloth, because I know it has the oleophobic coating and all that, but you're still going to have a lot of fingerprints on it. John has an iPhone 7. I'm not sure I'm going to recommend this case. Look at John's case. This is for the guy who wants to show he's got class.
Well, he got the gold iPhone that you took with you on vacation.
He's got gold. That is like a chrome case. Do you like that case, or are you just showing off?
It's the first case I ever had.
First case ever. Yeah, well, I think it's pretty clear you should have a case for your iPhone.
So I got this question on Twitter this morning. What about a screen protector? I've never used one. I don't like the bubbles. What do you think?
There are two kinds of screen protectors. There's the plastic ones. That's where you get the bubbles. And nowadays, there's newer one that's glass, actually glass. And the theory being that glass will break before the glass on your phone breaks. I don't use them and I don't like them, but I think we're bad examples because we don't keep phones as long as normal people do. If you want to keep this phone for 2 years, yeah, maybe a screen protector is a good idea. You know, Abby, who has an iPhone, I made her get a Gorilla. She's broken a few phones. Get one of the Gorilla cases. Is that what they're called? Gorilla? Yeah. And it has a cover. So I think that's another good way to go. The reason is when you drop a phone, your case will protect the back, it'll protect the edges, but of course the glass is going to be exposed, and if a rock hits that, that's going to break. I don't care if it's Gorilla Glass or anything, it's going to break or scratch, both of which would be very undesirable. So she has, one of those oyster cases, and it has a flip cover, so when you want to use it, you open it, but when you're carrying it around, it's still protected. That might be a better way to do it than having a always-on cover. Unfortunately, she took her case off to clean it yesterday, and immediately dropped her phone and broke the glass. It was like,
so
okay. The other thing that could be considered with cases is docks. So I have a dock in my car. This is Apple's really nice Lightning dock. And fortunately, this works with the Rinky case. It doesn't get in the way. The Rinky case isn't thick enough to block that. But it is something to be prepared for. The bigger, if you have a big elaborate case like, one of those military OtterBox. Sorry, not Gorilla. OtterBox cases. Probably those won't work. And in fact, it doesn't work in my car, even with a Rinky case. So I have some other accessories.
Well, do you want to talk a little bit more about this? Because this one, you
got one
have
too.
this one
It's so funny. I say, look, Megan, it came, and then she said, oh yeah, I have one too.
Yeah, this is the $49. People kind of made fun of the price of that. You can get it for $39 if you get the white one.
I don't think that's too expensive. It's cast aluminum. It's heavy. Feels really well made.
And you can charge and listen to your dock at the same time.
It has a headphone jack.
Yeah, so I've used this several times when I needed to charge my phone at the same time I was listening to my old-fashioned headphones.
I haven't run into too many problems with the lack of a headphone jack, except that on the airplane, I had a 10-hour flight, I wanted to listen to the phone, and I had a USB port. I would like to have charged it, or maybe you carry a battery, liked it, kept it charging, and I couldn't do that. But here is the other thing I ordered. A lot of these.
Are those dongles?
These are
you
dongles.
Got a pocket full of dongles?
I got a pocket full of dongles. These are the Apple Lightning to headphone jack dongles. You get one with a phone, and that's fine if you only have one pair of headphones in your whole life. Just keep it on that pair of headphones, and now it's a Lightning headphone, right? But I have lots of headphones I use, and I just know myself. I'm going to lose them, and then it's going to be really frustrating. So I bought 4 of these.
Okay, so next week, I was going to do it this week, but I didn't get all my tools together. But I saw on CNET how to make your own dongle holder, and we're going to do that next week.
Okay.
Make your own dongle holder.
Make your own dongle holder.
Fun to do, fun to say.
Fun project. I don't.
You put it on your keychain.
Yeah.
Well, you just wait. It's a
you
tease,
talked
if you
about,
will.
of course, and I'm now wearing it. My new Apple Watch Series 2.
My new Apple Watch.
And this is ceramic. It came with the world's worst band. Did you note that when you were?
I noted that in my review that it looked dirty, dirty.
It's dirty. It looks like, you have a nice white plastic band on your $1,200 watch, and it's dirty already. Get a new one, Leo. But I do use this when I work out because it's rubber. So it's, but then I pulled a Renee Ritchie. I went out and bought all kinds of different bands. So this is the nylon, black and white nylon. I got a black and pink nylon. And I like the leather, the soft leather bands.
What's that one called, that blue one?
I can't remember the name. It's the leather, soft leather. It's weird. It's like a quilted leather, but it's really soft. It feels good. If you're going to have an Apple Watch, you might as well consider accessorizing it, as Renee does, with a variety of bands. They're very easy to put on and take off. So that's another accessory I got. And then it comes with, which is really nice, and I should have brought it in, I forgot, the magnetic base that flips up so that you can use it in nightstand mode. It actually comes with this watch, along with the regular charger that comes with all Apple Watches, just the little quarter-size charger. So I have two.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
I think so, too.
And I consider that case kind of a dock. So I have it here at work. So if I want to take off my watch and charge it, I can do that. So those are, some of the accessories for the new Apple stuff.
Have you gone swimming in your watch yet?
I have swum and spit. You want to hear it? Have you heard it spit?
Yeah, yes.
Oh.
But I'm not the only one watching this, so someone else might not.
I don't want to bore you.
But yeah, we might have stuck it in a cup of water while you were.
My
gone.
watch?
We might have.
What? I'm worried. All right, let me press the button. So what happens? You press the water button, or if you're doing a workout, you can turn it on during the workout, and then when you're done, you spin the dial. Let's see if I can do that here to get it to spit out the water.
Does it have to have water to spin?
No. Turn digital crown to unlock and spin and eject water. Well, that's what I'm doing. Come on. Maybe I'm not turning it enough.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, did I hit you?
I got to spit some water out now. You know what? I remember Patrick also got the brand new watch, and we used his. We did not use yours. I refused to put yours in water. Now I'm recalling that I didn't.
No,
do it, so.
Don't lie. I know you did, but that's okay. I can live with it. It's fine. It's waterproof, right?
Right. It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be. And actually, more for me, it's. I guess if I were a swimmer, that would be important. But also that you don't have to worry about it getting wet. You can work out. It can get sweaty. Things like that. And if the nice thing about the ceramic is, it really doesn't show scratches, or at least it's not supposed to. What the heck?
I didn't do it. I always shower with my watch, which Tim Cook showers with his watch, and I have.
I like to do everything Tim does.
I have the band that said, "What would WWTCD? What would Tim Cook do?" And sometimes when the water will hit things and start things, and this morning when I was in the shower,
that's weird.
It entered a pass. It entered like several wrong passwords. The shower
and locked
did.
Your watch,
but it let me back in after a minute. So be careful while you're showering with your watch. Should we talk about books on our iPads?
So our subject today, and it comes up because of Amazon.
Yes. So Amazon Prime, lots of features with a $99 a year. You get free shipping, of course. You get Amazon Prime Music, which is a, medium-sized collection of music. What else you get? Free uploading, free storage for your photos. Now there's Twitch. Amazon Prime offers, no ads on Twitch or some sort of benefit. They keep adding all these benefits.
You also get streaming movies.
Oh, yeah.
There's a
Amazon
lot of free Prime movies and TV.
Yeah,
That's
and
quite
movies.
Good.
And now Prime Reading, which is...
I love this, but I haven't played with it yet.
Yeah. So before there was the Kindle lending library, but you had to have a Kindle for that. And you could only, you couldn't take as many books as you wanted. Prime Reading is as many books at once as you want from their collection of books, which is similar to the collection of music, where it's like, oh, they have that, but then they don't have a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the music is 1 million songs compared to, say, 30 million in Apple Music. So that is more than medium. I think it's on the tiny side. What kind of books, and so I'm here in my Kindle. How do I?
So you have the Kindle app.
Yep.
You need the Kindle app, but you don't need a Kindle.
Okay.
So then
these are the books I've already bought. So where do I get the books?
So there's a list online of the books that are free.
So of course you can't do it on Apple because they don't want to give a percentage to Apple. So you have to do this in the web.
You do it on the web. So
sign up.
Yeah.
And then it'll show up here.
So we have a link. I think, Brian, there's a link in the doc of a list, and they're in a weird order. But yeah, so all of these, and it just says 00 Kindle Unlimited. You see there where it says that. So there were some books we discussed before, the 5 love languages in there.
I read that.
Yes.
Gary Chapman, yeah.
If you want.
That was a very big book, like 30 years ago.
Not that long
All right,
ago.
20 years ago.
Man in the High Castle, which is interesting. 'cause
Oh, that's a great
you know,
Philip K. Dick novel.
Yes.
Everybody must read it. And they're doing that because they're
they
doing
have
an
it, yes.
Amazon original of the show.
And then you have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, but none of the other
just
Harry
the first
Potters,
one.
just the first one.
Well,
but
I
that's
get you.
great. So, you know, you can, I mean, the Kindle app looks pretty much like any, you know, other
I think it's a good,
reading
perfectly
app.
good
It's
reading
good.
app, yeah.
It's, you know, and especially if you already have a library of Kindle books, you can, you know, have all those here and all the books that you've bought are here as well. So, yeah. And magazines and comics. They also have magazines and comics. So I have Runner's Worlds there that I can look at and also comic books. So you just have to search through. It's not as easy
That'd
as
be
I would
kind
like
of
it to
cool.
be, but-
Comic books.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
So, yeah. And this is just my library.
Some of those
Super
are things
Diaper-
you're reading.
Yeah, Super Diaper Baby, for example.
Is that you or the kids that's reading
That is my daughter. That's the kind of books she reads. And yeah, me, Super Diaper Baby. That's what I read.
Tongue twisters. That'd be fun. We should do that on the show sometime. Just try some tongue twisters.
So yeah, so the Prime Reading, free. Why not take advantage of it? That's
You
what
already
I
have
think.
iBooks. The iBook store is also very good and very complete. And I think some of the books especially have a lot of illustrations and additional features over and above. Kindle's pretty plain. It's just the text. But some of the iBooks have, you know, video, graphics, and additional stuff because they've made them with iAuthor. So there's some very good books. Those tend to be more expensive and also huge, like gigabytes in size. So
Yeah,
just be aware of that.
yeah. So here's what the iBooks looks like. It's pretty, you know, it's pretty similar. Page turning is pretty much the same. You know, you can highlight you can highlight sections and search for them, which is nice. You know, there's a few different things you can do. If you're going to use iBooks as opposed to the Kindle app, make sure you go and check out the settings in your iPad. That is just right general. And then iBooks. Did I miss this iBook? So there's some settings you might want to switch. For example, like you might not want to download books on cellular data if you have a small plan.
Well, I'm thinking, for instance, E.O. Wilson's Life on Earth, which is just a gorgeous iBook. I think Apple had it made to show off the capabilities of iBook Author. And I think it's like 2 gigabytes. I'm actually going to download it, but it's going to take forever. Fortunately, we have a very fast connection in here. And it's not text. I mean, it's text, but it's a lot more. It's a lot more rich experience. And I think it's weird. It was Apple's original vision with iBooks and iBook Author, and I haven't heard about it in years. They haven't mentioned it again, and I don't know, are a lot of textbooks being made? I think it would be great if they would because they're much more interactive, much better than just a plain old paper textbook. I don't know if Apple, Apple may have lost interest in it a little bit. Here, it's almost downloaded. Let me see if I can show you here.
Well, I don't know a ton of people that choose iBooks as their way
Maybe
of reading.
that's it.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
Kindle is just.
Kindle's everywhere.
Yeah. Well, so is iBooks. I mean, if you are, well, it's not going to be on your Android devices, of course. But yeah, if you have an iPad and you have an iPhone, you know, it will keep your place in your book. So
My tip with iBooks, of course, is that you can take any PDF and add it to iBooks. So a lot of what's in my iBooks are things like, manuals that I will download as PDFs. This is a PDF edition of the Unix and Linux Systems Administration Handbook. So these are not meant for iBooks, but they are downloadable as PDFs, and it's fairly easy if you download it in Safari to send it to iBooks. And once you've done that, you have a library not just of stuff that you buy from Apple, but of iBooks as well.
And that's a great tip too. If you have a long document to read that's not already
do that all the
turn it
time.
into a
Yeah,
PDF, and then you can read it in you're not reading a Word document or a Google Doc or something.
Here's Life on Earth, and you can see and this is why it's designed for education. Here's a quiz. Which of one of the following is a savanna? Is it that?
I think so.
Check answer. Yeah, I got it. Identify the following biome, things like that. So this is pretty cool. There's videos. This is much more than just a book.
This is one of the most valuable habitats for your wildlife.
I guess Arnold
You have the
Schwarzenegger
transition here
is
between the woodland.
I think iBooks, it has so much potential. I wish Apple would throw more behind it. Maybe the Apple for Education program, which they've just kind of beefed up, we'll do more with iBooks.
And of course, there's Google Play Books too, which is very similar. One thing about Google Play Books is, they have so much information about you that they can suggest books to you based on a lot of the information that they know about you. So there's a discovery feature in Google Books, and you can sort of look through that. It's based on your search history and maybe books that you've read, topics that you've been interested in. So that's a good feature if you want.
There's another category, we've shown some of these before, of apps that are books. And this is going even one step beyond iBook Author in terms of interactivity. Here's an example. I don't know if you've ever read the classic Ulysses by James Joyce, but it's a famously difficult book to read because Joyce included so many references to classical literature and mythology, and unless you were an expert in the classics, a lot of it might just go right over your head. So what they've done, which I think is great, is they have the full text of Joyce's Ulysses. By the way, this is $8.99, but they have it annotated. So as you're reading, and I'll turn on the annotations, you can turn them on and off, but when you're reading, you can see the gray stuff, and there's quite a bit of it, is annotated. And so I think this really, for a student particularly, adds a huge amount to a book that is famously difficult and yet considered one of the greatest novels of all time. There's also an abridged audio recording. Naxos does this. I think they've done a very good job with it. And even music that's in the book. So in the book, Joyce will refer to musical songs, and in the past you might have just kind of skimmed over it, but here you can actually go and listen to it. So this gives you a lot more richness to it. You can hear James Joyce himself reading from Ulysses. Of course, these are from the 30s, so they don't sound great. There's lots of information and background. If I were a teacher, a college or high school teacher teaching Joyce, I wouldn't say go out and buy the book Ulysses. I'd say get this app on your iPad. This is phenomenal. I would love to see more of these. This is very deep stuff. And I remember reading Ulysses and buying a second book called the Bloomsday Book that you would go back and forth. This is so much better. Do you find the same thing, for instance, for Shakespeare? Here's a complete works of Shakespeare called Shakespeare Pro that not only has the text, but a glossary, study guide, notes. You can even do geographical map to find places where you can see Shakespeare's works. There's paintings. You even get a quote of the day. So every day you can have a different Shakespeare quote. Did you know he was the first to say, "Shake me"? Maybe not the best Shakespeare quote. Let's try another one. We lost too much money this Mart by being too wenchless. How many times have I said that?
Know. It's really
how about
comes
some
up so
how about
often.
some Shakespearean
I'm feeling
insults?
wenchless
Would you like some insults, thou lisping, ill-nurtured skeins mate?
I'm going to call you a skeins mate next time.
Thou dankish boiled brain scum. Now that's fun. So this is obviously aimed at probably high school students, but I really love seeing stuff like this. We had mentioned in the past a very strangely named Tempest Heuristics, and this is the Shakespeare play, one play. But it's got a lot of additional material, including video and Ian McKellen, the great Ian McKellen, and so forth. And then finally, I'll show one more thing. This is T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland, a great classic poem. You can listen to it spoken aloud by a variety of different people, including T.S. Eliot, Alex Guinness, Ted Hughes, the husband of Sylvia Plath, and Viggo Mortensen. I think,
Burial of the Dead.
You haven't heard T.S. Eliot's
April is the cruelest month. Breeding lilacs out of the dead land.
Viggo Mortensen of all.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but he's actually pretty good. There's a gallery. If you're a student, getting these kinds of editions, I always look for them because they really can bring a work alive that's sometimes very difficult. Ulysses is a good example. It's very hard. I know many people who have started it and not finished it. This would be a great way to finish it.
I love how you're talking about Shakespeare and T.S. Eliot, and there's this pile of dongles next, because this is our modern problem. Like if Shakespeare could write about our problem of the pile of
Get
dongles.
thee from me, thou dankest knave!
Don't throw away your dongles.
Give me that dongle.
Okay.
No, this is, at least Apple only charges $10 for these. They could have charged 40. You know
That's
that,
$40
right?
of dongles you got right there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dongles is such a fun word to say, isn't it?
Glenn just stole my dongle.
I've got one more reading app. Were those all your reading apps?
Those-
I've
those
got
are
one
just a
more.
few. Yes,
Now, I
please.
told you that I was going to look inside your brain and hold it in my palm. This app is called Pry, and it's by Tender Claws. And there's so many apps like this. It's a sort of a story, it's sort of a movie, and it's sort of a book. And you just have to explore it. It's
I played Grey Out. That was another one like that you recommended while I was in Europe. And it was really fun. Really enjoyed it. So is this like that where it's kind of mystery and you have to figure it out?
It's a guy who's returned from war, I think the Iraq War, and just what happens to him afterwards. And I think there should be sound, but I don't know why we can't hear anything.
You know what's great is the iPad has enabled whole new ways of consuming stories. And I love seeing people trying stuff like this. Instead of writing a novel and adapting it for the iPad, trying new things. This is really neat.
Yeah, or just instead of doing a short film.
Right.
So it's really kind of, it's like going into his thoughts
Wow.
and holding them in your hand. It's spooky and it's wonderful and...
Awake, but not fully. What time is it?
You want to see through James's eyes?
Yeah, can I?
Yes.
Oh, this is neat.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what James
That's
is
the ceiling.
seeing. Right.
Right.
Can't move.
Can't move. Oh, he's just come back from the war.
Yeah.
This reminds me a little of Grey Out, but a lot more mass media than Grey Out, multimedia than Grey Out.
Yeah, I mean, if the idea of, downloading that book or reading Ulysses is a little bit overwhelming, start with something like this, which I'm not saying it's going to be any less draining on your psyche, but fewer words.
Yeah.
So-
Well, why not? Try these new media and play with it and see what else can be done. We don't, the book has been around for centuries. Interesting.
Yes.
So this is not really as much a game as an interactive fiction.
It's not. It's not a. Yeah, it's sort of a book. It's not a game. It's not a book. It's not a movie. It's something totally different.
Good.
And
Love that.
I think it's $3.99. Let's see how much.
What's the name of it again?
Pry. It's Pry by Tender Claws, and it is $3.99.
Well, I like how you just subtly did that sidebar there.
Okay.
Do you use that a lot in your iPad Pro?
So since, I talked to
Georgia,
Andy, Mike, Hurley, they were, they just reminded me of all of these
always forget
features
that too.
Yeah, but the one thing I still, and anyone in the audience or you, Leo, who can tell me how to get these away if you don't use them. Like how to, I don't
it's
know.
Just it's recents, unfortunately.
Well,
so
you
it's not
should be
in any,
able to.
It's not in any order. Press and hold it. Does it?
No, it doesn't shake. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, this is my big quibble with Apple. I like the idea of having split screens, but it's not in any order. It's in the order of last used, and you can't control it. And that is a little frustrating.
I know, you should be able to get rid of those.
Yeah. Not that I know of. Maybe we can get Andy or Renee or Georgia in again.
We missed you. I did really miss you. I loved having them on, but we miss you because you never know what you're going to say, which is what makes it so exciting.
Okay, that's one way to... Let me get some insults here. Hold on a second. I have a whole set.
I'm just going to go pry into this person's mind. I wish I could pry at your mind.
So that
open
high-pitched noise I'm hearing is not my ears. That's coming from that.
That's coming from the prying into someone's...
Oh, great. I have more tinnitus.
Mm-hmm. So I'm always curious what you're going to say, especially about the issue of getting a mortgage.
Oh, I have many things to say about that, actually.
Okay, let's talk about how hard it is.
You own your own home.
I own my own home. We got it refinanced. My arm was broken when we refinanced. There's so many things to sign. You have to put on pants and go out of the house.
Unfortunately, you still have to sign, but you don't have to put on pants. So that's the good news. Okay. Actually, you probably should, but you don't have to go out of the house.
Okay,
We're talking about Rocket Mortgage. This is Quicken Loans' answer to the digital generation. Quicken Loans is really one of the best loan companies in the world. I love them. QuickenLoans.com/iOS today. And they have created Rocket Mortgage for you, specifically the digitally literate people who own iPhones and iPads, to make it easier to get a home loan or to refinance your home without leaving the house, without any paperwork. No more searching through boxes to find pay stubs and stuff. Literally with a push of the button, with your finger, you can get pay stubs, bank statements, all of that sent, and get approved instantly. I mean, right away for a loan that is tailored to your specific needs and abilities. It is customizable. And of course, it's the latest rates. The last time when we bought a house 3 years ago, we go to the loan guy, and he's got a sheaf of paper, I kid you not, clearly printed every single day with all the loan rates, and he's with all the banks, and he's kind of thumbing through it. It's crazy. This is so much better. Now, we still live in the modern world. You still have to sign those papers when you finally get the loan. But here's the best part. You've done this all. You don't have to get up. You can do it on your phone. You don't have to leave the house. And then they send a notary to you with the papers, and you do it in your own home. Sign all the papers. It could not be easier. It could not be better. Make an offer, get a refi, explore your options. It's Rocket Mortgage from Quicken Loans. Rocket Mortgage is, of course, equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org, number 3030. Find out more, quickenloans.com/iOS today for Rocket Mortgage. And we thank Rocket Mortgage so much for making iOS Today possible.
All right, I have some emails, some housekeeping from previous episodes. I'm going to have to bring up Mike Hurley again. I know you're getting jealous, but one of the things Mike said was he uses the Apple Pencil when he's working, which, we have these pencils, but I think
he doesn't use it in lieu of his finger.
He does.
Oh.
And he says, it's just better because he's working on it all day. And I have to remind myself to use it. But we got an email from John who says, I've been working in IT for about 30 years now. And in the early 2000s, I started to develop wrist issues. About that time, I purchased a Windows tablet PC. And I found that using the stylus on the tablet made a huge difference to my issue. I think it was because it varied the angle that I was holding my wrist. And it varied it enough to alleviate the problem. If anyone is having that issue, then I recommend using a tablet and a pen.
All right.
So, of course, a tablet is different than an iPad.
I haven't done that. In fact, then I started doing it, and then I realized, my pencil has run out of juice.
So you can charge it in that elegant way that Apple has.
It's so bizarre.
Of charging.
So weird, man. All right.
And now I'm going to bring up Andy Anatko, and then I'll be done. Then we'll be done. Andy was on his way to Comic-Con in New York, and he wouldn't tell us what his costume was. He was wearing the hat for the Outcast.
I saw his Instagram.
Yes, he was, and I had people guess, and a lot of people guessed Bill Steed, but all you people were wrong. There were a couple other guesses.
There he is.
He was
Bill
Cunningham.
Now guess, yeah.
Oh, sorry, now guess.
Well, but who is Bill Cunningham?
Legendary fashion photographer.
Remember,
Bill
he just passed away this year, not so long ago. He was famous for his street photography in New York City of well-dressed people walking down the streets of New York. He was a marvelous photographer and fairly old. He'd been doing this for decades. And I love it that because Andy goes to Comic-Con to take pictures of all the cosplayers, I love it that his cosplay was the guy who takes pictures. I love it.
But he was wearing a different hat last week, so I'm confused. He pulled a fast one on us. His hat was more Bill Steedish, but maybe
he had a pork pie. It looked like on that, and I guess the blue jacket is supposed to be the tip off.
I guess so. Ramona would like our advice. She says it's nearly time to replace my iPhone 5S. For $649, I can buy an iPhone 6S with. Did I say she was replacing her 6S? She was replacing her 5S.
Well, it's time. It's certainly time, to replace it.
Tell that to my husband with his 5C, please.
He likes that's the one with the color backs?
Yeah.
Well, he says you know what? He's a smart man. It works, right?
It works,
That's all I need.
But for $649, I can buy an iPhone 6S with 128 gigabytes of memory or an iPhone 7 with 32 gigabytes of memory.
Get the 6S.
Okay. Get the 6S.
Yeah, 32 gigs is so light. I know Apple stopped selling 16 gigs, thank goodness. But even 32, I have 20 gigabytes of pictures on my phone alone. Now, if you use iCloud Photo Library, if it starts to fill up, it'll move it off and stuff. But it's not hard to fill up 32 gigs, I think.
So your point is the iPhone 7 is not worth it. The space is what you want.
Here's what you're giving up. iPhone 6S has 3D Touch. So it's the probably, if you were older than that, I'd say get the iPhone 7, maybe. But, if you're wanting to upgrade. But the 6S, she wants to buy a new 6S. You're getting 128 gigs. You're getting a headphone jack. You're giving up the haptic feedback button, big deal. It is a much faster processor. I never felt like the processor was slow, right? And you're giving up, if you're going to get the Plus, the new camera, the dual lens camera. I don't think that's a big deal. I don't think any of that stuff is so compelling that you should give up 128 gigs of storage. That's more important.
Yeah, I don't know if she's talking about the Plus or not because it's $649 for a 6S.
Yeah, that is not the Plus.
No,
then.
so
No, yeah.
so you're not getting the camera anyway if you're just getting the 6. So
Yeah.
I mean, or the 7. So why
Yeah.
not? Yeah.
No, the camera's good, but the camera on the 6S was excellent too. I think these are very small differences between the 6S and the 7. And the difference in storage is going to make a difference to you.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be hard to live. I mean, I guess you look at your current phone and see how much space you've used, and if you used 18 gigs, maybe 32 would be enough. That's really probably a more appropriate answer would be to how much have you used.
Mm-hmm.
What happens with the iPhone, to me anyway, is the camera's so good, the video's so good, you tend to take a lot of pictures and a lot of video, and that fills you up very, very quickly.
It's true.
And music, and and I'm traveling. I put all my music on there because I wasn't going to be online during the airplane trips or on the boat. A lot of times on the boat, you can't get internet. I needed to have local music.
And it's like you have everything on iCloud, but it's still taking up, the pictures are still taking up space.
Well, but that was kind of my point. If you're always going to be online, if you're never going to be anywhere where you're out of touch, then streaming pictures and stuff, maybe you could survive. So I guess really I shouldn't be so black and white. It depends a lot on how you use the phone. Mm-hmm. But I love having all that storage. I actually bought the 256 gig iPhone 7 because I wanted all that extra storage. Mm-hmm. It is frustrating. These things are so darn expensive. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is the most expensive computer you have, probably,
mm-hmm.
right?
And yeah, more powerful than some computers.
Yeah, this processor in the iPhone 7 is 40% faster than the iPhone 6. So that's 2 years ago, but that's a big jump in 2 years. As I said, I don't think anybody feels like the iPhone 6 or even the 6S was slow, but they are really doing some amazing things. And it is, I don't know, what do you think? Do you notice the speed of the 7? I feel like I do.
I do notice that it's quicker, but I mean, there are a lot of things in iOS 10 that are better. The other thing is...
10 is the biggest change.
Yeah. Even after just a year, though, with the 6S, my battery wasn't lasting as long. It was still as fast, but, there are some real improvements. I run, and I like to change the music and listen to different podcasts. And as soon, with the 6S or the 6 or anything I had before, as soon as my hand was the least bit sweaty, I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't able to open it.
And you feel this is better?
Yeah. I haven't had any problem. And, I used to just use a numerical password, and now I use an alphanumerical password to keep this. I just feel like I don't want people to get into this phone.
No, the fingerprint reader is so good, you should use a really long, strong passward.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to enter it as much.
Right. So then it's great because I don't have to stop the run and then enter my alphanumeric password. Yeah. But, does the taptic button bother you? It did. At first it did, but I've gotten used to it already.
Used to it.
Yeah.
It's not a feature. It's not something, if you have a 6S, you go, oh, I don't have a taptic button. No. Which one do you use? 1, 2, or 3? Which level of taptic do you use? The highest or the weakest?
I don't think I changed it.
Okay,
I
so
used
that's
the
2.
default.
That's the default.
Yeah.
It's funny, whenever I meet somebody with iPhone 7, people that's the one thing people ask. I use
That's
1.
kind of a personal question,
I
Leo.
know.
What
I use
taptic
1.
level?
That's the least. But it's different. It's not the same. You can't say it's like a physical click, but that's fine. And I think long term, it will be more reliable if there's no physically moving button. Most people agree that the 8, and this is the other reason you might want to get the 6S, the 8 is going to be the big jump. In fact, the thinking is Apple's going to eliminate the home button entirely. It'll all be on screen. And that's probably what they're getting us ready for, right?
That's what I've told people. Like, if you're not going to upgrade if you're not an every year upgrader and you really think that, some of the rumored options in the 8 are something that you might be interested in, then I would wait. But I want to get back to this taptic feedback. So now, like, often when I'm just putting my thumb on it, it'll initiate Apple Pay. Like, the Apple Pay will come up.
That's the double tap.
So.
Or no, what is that? That's the long tap?
I think it's the double tap.
No, that's Siri. No, double tap is recents.
But like when I'm just trying to log in, so should I change my taptic? Maybe I'm not. And is that a problem? Like, could I be possibly like walking by an Apple Pay station and accidentally buy something?
Now you got me. Home button. Let me look at the home button settings. So this is the settings. You can have. I'll move it over here so you can see it. You can have.
Choose your click.
1, 2, or 3. 3 is stronger.
So that's general.
I've been using home? 1. Yeah, home button. One other thing I do with the home button, and maybe this is related to what you're talking about. In accessibility, you can have the home, there's a home button section. You can have the home button unlock the phone without pressing. So that's the old behavior, and then Apple changed that, I think, with iOS 10, where you had to swipe, right? And I really want to be able to unlock the phone when the phone's locked. I don't want to have to touch the button and then swipe. I just want to do it like this, and it does that. If you go into accessibility and you turn that feature on, how do you do Apple Pay? How do you?
I think it's double click. I think
double click
hold
is
long hold.
Well,
I think it's no, because that's Siri. Well,
you can tell I use Apple Pay all the time.
I don't know what I'm doing, but it seems like Apple Pay is just coming on.
Huh? I don't know. I don't
know.
Is it triple click?
I always thought it just initiated when you got near a thing, but it goes off for me. It just went off a second ago, and I thought it was double click.
Put it in the camera there so we can see.
Okay, let's see.
Double click on the lock screen. That's the trick. So it has to be locked.
There we go.
And then you double click.
There was my credit
locked.
card that I showed.
Didn't show the full number, just
No.
the last 4 digits here. Okay. So I've disabled. That's why I don't know it, because that's the negative of doing that touch the home button to unlock. I can't double click while it's locked, because touching
you
the
did
home
that.
button unlocks
Okay.
it. So,
So
I've
that's
just disabled. That's an interesting point. All right.
Yeah,
So it
good
was
tip.
related. So if you turn off rest finger to open in accessibility and then lock it, now the double click should bring up. Yeah, now it does. So I've just disabled Apple Pay by doing that. And now I understand why they want you to swipe. That's so that they can have that quick.
Right.
I hate that double tap.
Well, with people who have older phones, like a 5C that my husband has, he always would swipe because he doesn't have the fingerprint reader. And so there's some features of iOS 10 that are really make people want to upgrade that haven't wanted to upgrade in a long time. Because
I love iOS 10, and that's the first thing you should do is upgrade to iOS 10. It's really great.
Right. So you can send stickers.
And messages. Pretty cool.
Yeah, balloons. You have to do is type happy birthday and balloons just...
The other reason I don't care if Apple Pay doesn't launch on the phone is because I'm wearing an Apple Watch. And that's if I use Apple Pay, I always use it with the watch.
I use it on the watch too. So maybe I won't feature that. Okay, so I have this pile of Bluetooth headphones that I've been testing out. I'm going to do a little roundup for the screensavers as soon as I get them all fitted perfectly for my ears.
Good.
But we've got a lot of questions about that. Starfish
I'm going to
Dave-
buy the AirPods the minute they come out, so don't worry, you don't have to.
I haven't even used. Have you used the ones that come the Lightning?
Yeah.
The ear pods?
I've used those, but I'm not a real fan of Apple's headphones, so I use the adapter to go to my Etymotics, which is what I really like. And I also I bought the Beats Bluetooth, the old Beats Bluetooth, just to kind of, and I'm not a fan of Bluetooth headphones, but I think in the long run, that's Apple's plan, right? It's just, you should be using wireless headphones. Okay. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not gonna say anything, but Apple is the #1 Bluetooth headphone manufacturer in the world because of Beats. So there could be some, profit motive as well.
But you're not going to say anything.
But I'm not going to say
You're
that.
not gonna say
because I could unload that, but I am not.
You weren't going to come here and say that.
And I wasn't going to come here and say
Would
that. No, I don't want to imply that they're greedy. But are they? Some people say.
I think Bluetooth is better for everyone, and that's what Apple made me say. So, just kidding.
You know what? I'm waiting to see what this W1, this new Bluetooth chip does. It may solve all the pairing issues and all that stuff. It sounds like it will. If it gets great audio quality and I don't have to have wires, why wouldn't you like it? The only negative on Bluetooth is you have to charge the headphones. That would be the only downside.
Yeah. It is a pain to come to your Bluetooth headphones and realize they're not charged.
I'm crossing my fingers that the AirPods sound good, fit well, and feel good in my ears, and are easy to use. And I may end up being all AirPod.
Well, so far, all the reviews I've read have said that, but those are all people who got them, advanced review copies. So
I prefer not to do that, but just to get it when it comes out. Yeah.
Well, Starfish Dave writes, just received my jet black iPhone 7 and purchased iFrog X Summit wireless earbuds from Zag, and so far I'm impressed. I'm definitely not an expert on music, but I like the sound. The instructions say the charge lasts 10 hours. The wireless hub is magnetic and clips to your shirt. The earbuds themselves have what they call securing wings that keep the earbuds from falling out.
I like securing wings.
I like securing wings. So far, they seem to work well with Siri. Below is he sent me a picture of the box. I guess we'll know more later. So I haven't tried those particular ones, but the ear wings, what I'm finding is when I used to just try earbuds, it was just the bud, and that was it. And if it fell out of your ears, too bad. But now, with all of these Bluetooth headphones, they come with like 7 different little plastic things to fit in your ear. They have the wings that go over your ear. They have little cases that they come in. I mean, I think that the market for Bluetooth headphones have matured. I really like the Plantronics. That's what I use often. They're the Backbeat Fit. And Donald Boutte says that they are available at Costco for $75.
I would guess because you're a runner that these would be better than having a wire, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And now you can use the new Apple Watch has GPS. You don't need to bring your phone, and of course it has 4 gigs of storage for music. So if you have Bluetooth headphones, because there's no headphone jack on the watch, you can still listen to music and not bring your phone with you. Do you do that?
No, I have the old Apple Watch.
Oh, you don't have the Series 2 yet?
No, I don't. I'm waiting for you to get tired of the ceramic one and give it to me. So.
It's funny. I wore this the whole vacation. I said, "Oh, look, I'm going to have to give it a full test," and you get used to it, and it's great for working out. They really focused it more on sport. I'm much happier with the user interface. I was really unhappy with the user interface of the original Apple Watch. WatchOS 3 makes a big difference. You don't need the Series 2 to use OS 3. It's simplified. I love the dock. That's much better. I feel like it's certainly not a necessity. Rene Ritchie, what he calls it, the sidecar to the Apple motorcycle, the iPhone. But for a certain group, if you go to workout, knowing your heart rate is really important, right? So runners, people who work out, if you don't want to have a fancy runner watch, I think the Apple Watch is a good choice.
Yeah, and I was just kidding. I know, I can see it in your eyes. I know when you like something. I know when you'll keep it. But you know what I was thinking about getting the bigger one, though, because my battery doesn't last. It's only like 66.
Okay, that's the other thing. The Series 2 is bigger.
Yeah.
And this battery life, I get to bed and it's 62, 72. Even, I work out for an hour with the heart rate monitor on, activity monitoring and all. I did that today. Let me just check my battery. 84%. So that's with an hour full-time heart rate. And we're now recording this about 2:20 in the afternoon. It'll still be over 50% by the time I get to bed. That's a big improvement. That's the 42-inch, 42 millimeter though. Battery life, by the way, we were kind of alluded to this, but battery life is also much better on the iPhone 7. I feel.
Yeah,
don't you?
I definitely do. I haven't even thought about charging it.
No.
I mean, I haven't.
Totally
I always charge it every night, so I don't know how long it would actually last if I didn't charge it.
Right.
But yeah, it's great.
Slow Mo in our chat room says, "Do you want us to start a petition to have Leo give you his Apple Watch?"
I might now. I've
make you a deal.
revised. I might want your old Apple Watch because it's bigger. It's already bigger.
I have a
because mine is
42 millimeter. Why don't you try it and see if you like it? And you know what? If you want a new Apple Watch, actually do that. See what size you want, and then if you want the Series 2, get the Series. We'll buy you a Series 2.
Thank you, Slow
You should.
Mo.
I mean, get the Sport. Don't get the ceramic.
The golds.
Let's not go crazy. I can't really justify the $12.99 purchase price of this watch.
No.
But if you compare it to other high-end watches, it's not out of the ballpark. A lot of watches are very expensive.
Yeah.
They're jewelry. And I've always liked ceramic. It's tough. It's not going to scratch. The stainless steel scratches. Don't you notice a little bit?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. For now, you know me, I'm fickle. For now, I kind of like this.
Yeah, I think it looks good on you.
It's a little clunky. I mean, you look like, George Jetson with this clunky thing on your wrist.
I had that nylon band and I returned it. I'm not the hugest fan of the nylon. I think it's thin and I don't like the way that it.
I think the band makes it look that way.
I don't know. The band has I don't know. It's not my favorite band. But
I was hoping they would make a black ceramic, but what Apple says is this is the natural color of the zirconia that is used to form it. So this is kind of uncolored. So they'd have to add coloring. So you convinced me. I'm switching bands.
You're switching.
Here's a question: which side do you put on? I tend to want to put the buckle part on the top, and the strap without the buckle on the bottom. What do you do?
I sometimes have to do the buckle on the top.
Buckle on the top.
They can go either way, but then they
You
don't.
can do it either way.
Yeah.
So you get to choose.
This is life's big problems. buckle on the top.
Don't put it in upside down, though. It won't click. There you go. There's the click. You don't want it to fall off. All right, so I'm switching to, this is the, for want of a better word, poofy leather.
Yeah, and it matches my case.
It is bluish. Funny, it didn't look bluish on the website, but I guess.
What color is it? Midnight?
Yeah, I guess. But, you know, that's the nice thing about white is you can kind of play with other colors.
Right. See, what I like is it's wider.
Does that look better?
It gets wider. This is just
that
straight
doesn't
across.
look so big, does it?
This is just straight across
Yeah.
instead of wide on the. But yeah.
I like having different ones. These are the advantages. That's $150. This is $49. It's a lot less. The nylon's a lot less expensive. All right.
All right. Well, I think it's time for our app cap.
Let me reach over and get my hat.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it fell off. I have to go down on the ground here. Excuse me for a moment.
This is the smoothest transition yet.
Okay, pretend that didn't happen.
This is one of my favorite hats.
That is.
I might have to borrow
I think
this for
that's
Halloween.
Backwards, though. Is that right?
No. Oh. Whoops.
You sit the cameras.
This is the tag is in the back.
No, that looks good. So it's like Zorro and his lady.
Yes.
Or, actually, now that I look at it, it's more like a Yiddish wedding. If I were a rich man, deva, 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 da.
Why are we wearing hats?
Why are we wearing hats?
Because this is our app cap. It's our
Oh.
favorite app.
We honor an app every week
We honor an app.
by wearing a hat.
Yes, because cap rhymes with app. Okay, so now my app is not funny.
Not funny.
But it is, it's positive. It's meant to be uplifting. So you remember in January that Dragon Cancer came out, the game.
I thought about doing this as my app cap.
I thought about it, and then you thought it would be too depressing.
It's not depressing so much as just hard. It's about it. It's a true story. A family, the child, one of the children in the family, got cancer. And his dad, I think, was a game designer. So he decided to design a game around their family experience. We had him on the new screensavers. I mean, I'm moved and touched by all of this. And they raised money. I think it was a Kickstarter. But now it's on iOS.
It is on iOS. So Ryan and Amy Green created it. They were the parents of Joel Green, who had terminal cancer. And
did Joel pass?
yes.
Oh.
And so I was.
That makes it even harder.
But I was thinking, oh, it's so depressing. But that was their point. When they have a PBS documentary coming out at the end of October that they said, we didn't do this game to depress anyone. He says that Ryan wanted a space to be able to remember his son,
Yes,
and
course.
also and it's thinking why we use video games. Why do we play video games as an escape?
Right.
But why not really just understand that we're all walking around this world with our own problems, and maybe talking about them and creating art from them might be something that's more helpful than just always escaping from them. So he used actual audio of his child's. He brought him into the recording studio and has him laughing and talking, has his other children talking. So it's really it's not so much a game as an experience. You just sort of move around in this space. I'll lift my hat up
You
here.
can't move around with your hat's in the way.
Headphones are recommended, but we have some. Okay.
Good audio sound on this.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So you can go to
I have tried to play this game a few times, and I literally cry. I can't do it.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I guess cancer touches us all. We've all had family members who have had cancer, and some have survived, some have not. I just prefer not to. I don't want to think about it. I figure it's probably in my future, right? And I just don't want to think about it.
Well, yeah, there's cancer, and
then you add a child dying, and it's, for a parent, there's nothing worse, right? So I'm very sympathetic with the family. I'm crying right now already. Just the music makes me sad.
It's moving, and it's meant to look at your own life and think.
I don't want to look at my life.
Be grateful for your healthy children.
I am
be
grateful
for what you have.
I am. When the kids were little, we went to a motel for a vacation, and there was a child their age with leukemia swimming in the pool, and I talked to the parents and the child, and it just broke my heart. And of course, it's terribly tragic, but if you're in that position, you just put one foot in front of the other. You live your life. You continue your life with it.
So
but I've always been very grateful for my children's health. Absolutely.
So yeah, I struggled with doing this, and I thought, well, you know what? I read his story, and
It's moving.
and so I thought it's true. Like, we all have our own pain, and just to escape from it isn't always the answer.
Now, some of you are watching and saying, well, so far all I'm doing is feeding a duck. It isn't the most painful thing yet.
No, so there's scene selections here. So it just goes through their story, and it's just moments in time. It's not even, I mean, to say it's a story. So there's hospital time, there's end of treatment. I mean, there's,
I don't know. Is there something wrong with me that I don't like to think about this stuff?
No, there's nothing wrong with you, Leo.
I've spent a lot of time in the hospital. We've had family members ill, and you don't want to go, and you have to. Because they're family members. But, gosh, I don't know if I want to live this again.
Well, you don't have to.
It's horrible. It feels so bad. I was very moved when we talked to them. Of course, they have another child, or at
two
least
other children.
Two other children. And so their kids were there. Boy, I will. You know what? I will watch the documentary.
Okay.
I'll be very interested in that. I'm just not sure I want to play this game.
All right.
And so I thought about it, but I'm glad you picked it.
Okay.
I'm glad you picked it.
I'm going to put my hat back on now.
One of my all-time favorite games, and maybe you too if you're an old-timer. Do you remember Lemmings? Love
Vaguely.
that game. You had these little lemming creatures. Lemmings want to all march off the cliff. They just kind of all follow each other. And your goal was to save the lemmings using various doohickeys, contraptions. It's essentially puzzle game, but fun. This is called Inklings. It's not Lemmings, but it's similar. It's also very different. I think Inklings is kind of fun. Now, I've already worked my way through the tutorial, so I won't be showing you the tutorial, but actually, I could go back and do that. What's fun, though, is now, well, real quickly, I'll show you the tutorial to give you a simple and easy level that you can play and give you some idea of how the gameplay works. So you get a map and these lemmings, and you can either tap one individually selected, or you can select them as a group, and then you have a couple of tools. In this case, a pickaxe and a caterpillar tool. I'm going to use the caterpillar tool because it allows them to go up the sides of walls. And I've selected them all because I want them all to do this behavior, but you won't be able to solve every puzzle that way. And then I'm going to use a pickaxe right now, and they're just going to fall in that hole, and they'll all be saved.
Like lemmings.
Like lemmings. So this is the tutorial, so you can see it's very, very simple. Once you complete the tutorial, then you get into the kid art level. 14 Inklings, 14 to save. You can get a bonus if you only use 2 cannons. I don't even know what's happening here. So we're going to try to get the lemming in that hole. I'm sorry, the Inkling in that hole. What's nice is they call it kid art. You get some art kind of things. I'm not sure how I get out of this. I may be stuck here. Change level. There we go. And the art is different kinds of art. So look, it's crumpled up paper, right? And in this case, it's a coloring book of dinosaurs. So it's kind of fun. So there are teleportation holes. I'm going to have that Inkling dig. Oops, didn't happen. Let's do it again when we get back there. And there are lots of different contraptions and doohickeys. It's it's kind of a fun game, and the drawings are all different, which is kind of fun. Here, let's try another one. So if you liked Lemmings, you like the idea of puzzle games, you can take your time. You're not being timed. Well, you're kind of being timed. Here's cannons. Here's the Inklings. I don't know what's going on. We're on graph paper now, and it looks like, oops, that's probably not what we want. Yep, got to start over. So there you go. I guess I can use the cannon to save them here. Let's, I don't know how I'm doing. Oh, I got to aim it. Okay. So it's another one of those where you have to kind of figure out things as you go along. It's called Inklings. It is not a free game.
$4.99.
It's $4.99, but I like that because there's no in-app purchases. I'm kind of getting sick of free games where you end up having to spend any money to have fun. This is all up front. $4.99, that's it. You've done. And quite a few levels.
Yeah, that Dragon Cancer also $4.99. So
Yeah.
you can choose to spend, if you have $5 burning a hole in your pocket, you can choose.
You know, some days you want to do something that's meaningful and thought-provoking, and some days you just want to kind of do mindless games. So you have the choice. And I like to have both in my arsenal, in my folders on my iPad. Well, that's it for iOS Today.
Yes. Make sure you tune in next week while we make a dongle holder.
God knows I've got plenty of them.
And we also will maybe do some improvements on our set. Maybe we should have done a little bit of a dress rehearsal before.
Why? What's the matter?
We've had some hat issues with the screen. Yeah, something like that.
Honey, we had those issues back in the old place. There's always been hat issues.
There's
iOS
always hat
Today
issues.
and hat issues go together.
They do.
I hope you've enjoyed the show. We do it every Monday, right about, 1:30. Is
Yeah,
that fair?
that's fair.
1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern Time. That's 20:30 UTC. You can watch live. Be in the chat room at irc.twit.tv. But, of course, you never have to watch live any of our shows. You're always welcome to watch on demand at your leisure. Just go to the website, twit.tv/iOS. You get every episode we've ever done there, including, by the way, highly recommended, the episode where Georgia Dow shows us how to use the secret features, the secret features of messages, and wears a great funny hat. I love that hat. How awesome is that? Twit.tv/iOS, or of course subscribe, and you can do that in any podcatcher, and you'll never miss an episode. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time on iOS Today.
Bye-bye.